So a really important topic to talk about is how to get your data ready from an AI perspective. All right, I think one of the when you think about the amount of data that's in the environment, whether that's in your transactional system or external systems, trying to bring that data together and making sure that it is of the highest quality is a very important activity, because obviously you kind of think that that adage of garbage in is garbage out, that is especially true for AI as well. So when you want to ask a question, you want to make sure that you've got the right data that's supporting it and you get the best answer out. There's several systems, I guess, when you think about kind of your overall environment that you need to consider. So transactionally, right? How do I, in my transactional systems, how do I manage the data and govern that on an entry system, right? So how do I not only as I'm entering it, making sure that the right fields are required. So think about when you've got a customer as an example, right? So you want to make sure that you've got the first name, the last name, potentially an address, a phone number, an email, and that all of those have the right formats, right? So it's got the right, if you think about a phone number, it's got the, an area code and the right number of digits. If I've got an email, that it's a validated email, right, with an @ and a, .com or a .edu. Those are all features and functions of a transactional governance model, right? I'm governing the data coming in. So incredibly important. The next thing, though, is you slide, if I think about a kind of a spectrum of sliding to the right and having the analytics portion that then takes place. From an SAP perspective, now you're looking at tools like Calibra as an example. And one of the areas that Calibra helps out with is creating a data dictionary. Because as I talked about, right, you've got your transactional system, but when I think about the analytics systems, there are multiple sets of data, right? Think about Google BigQuery, an Amazon, a Databricks, right? So lots of other places that you're storing data, and having a data dictionary to, one, be able to say and define what a domain is, right? So what is customer? What are financial components, right? What is revenue? What is cost of sales? What are regions? And defining all those, right? So it's important to have that from a data dictionary standpoint. But then also, where does all that data live, right? So go back to the customer example. I might have customer in my transactional system, but I also might have customer, again, sitting in one of those external data sources, or I might have bought some data from a third-party data source and tried to bring that in. So being able to list off where are all those data sources. And one other key piece that I would say from Calibra is also defining what the overall quality of that data is, and literally from a percentage standpoint. And what I would say maybe is, some of those factors of accuracy or some of those pieces, but literally defining, is it 80% solid, right? Or is it more at 30%? Why does that matter? Because at the final stage, you want to try and bring all of that data together. And what I use the term unification. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as a golden record. And so again, what you're trying to do is, because I have these disparate sources, I want to try and bring that data together and have it be one thing. So I'm calling all of these things that are like the same thing. So, and again, one of the biggest pieces that SAP has recently put together is Reltio. And so Reltio is that unification layer that ideally, if I kind of step it back a little bit, now I'm going to be able to sort of do the unification, right? A customer is a customer is a customer, right? And they're all the same thing. So from my standpoint, whether it be Stuart or Stu or S Roar, right? In different systems, it can now come together with one golden record as, here is Stuart Roar. And these three separate records are all the same thing. Why is that important, right? And maybe I'll go one step forward, which is, not only do you have it from data, but you also have documents, right? And how do I tie that document component and the content within the document together and align all of those components together? All of that is incredibly important to make sure, like as I talked about from the start, that sets the baseline so that now that I've got the content, I've got the unified data, I understand where the piece, essentially what the data elements are, and I go all the way back from the start of, I've got governed data coming into my transactional system. All of that sets the stage so that now when I ask an artificial intelligence question, a machine learning question, Now I've got the right set of data that sets the stage so that you get the best answer out.